I'm back on the project once again. Came up on Thursday, spent all day Friday putting in a drainage system for the sink and the shower. No easy task. Digging a trench in the New Hampshire woods reminds the person why they call it the Granite State. But that's another one of those projects where you bust hump, and then when it's all done, you got nothing to show for it. But a good drainage system is something the cabin needs. It's done, mission accomplished now, should last the rest of my life. Since I started the project this year, all I've been doing is working on the outside. I'm going to switch gears now, start working on the inside. I need to see some changes in here just to keep my spirits up. So, what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to do a little partition between the living room and the kitchen. I've never really liked the total open concept, so I'm going to frame a little wall here about 3 feet out. That'll give me a nice barrier between the wood stove and the furniture. It'll also give me some bare studs so I can run some wires. The camp here that's finished, I don't have any wiring here, so this will enable me to put in an outlet, some switches and stuff. That way I can have a lamp on the living room side. I can have a light illuminating the cooktop when the kitchen queen goes in. On that side, I'll have a spot to put some switches. And I want to switch out this light that's over the table. There's gas light is great, sure, but I don't like to have a gas light over where I'm eating or cooking. Quite often you'll have a little bug, a little fly or moth. He gets in here and he gets up in there and he swirls around, he gets burned, and where does he fall? Right on the table. So I want to take that out. I'm going to hang an electric light here. And then I will probably put a gas light over here. I want to make sure I still have gas lights in the camp in case I ever have trouble with my power system.
Well, I plunged into the project and everything was coming together nicely. But with the framework installed level and plumb, the sag in the ceiling became much more obvious. There was an 1¼ inch sag in just a 4-foot run. I had to get a bit creative to disguise this snafu. The next step was to enclose the framework with some shiplap I made, and then I capped it all off with some ripped portions of leftover wavy edge siding. I installed these 6x6s here, but instead of going up and across in normal fashion, by putting in these diagonals, not only did it add character to the room, it pulled the parallels apart and did a great job at hiding the sag in the ceiling.
Everything pegged here. I like it.
Now I wanted lights in the ceiling, so that's where the wires had to go. I tore up the floor upstairs and ran wires through the floor joist. Now whose idea was this anyway? When I got that over with, I started tearing apart the wall behind the wood stove in the kitchen. I removed the sheetrock and all the paper-faced insulation and put fireproof stone wool and cement board in its place. I'll be covering the cement board with a brick veneer later on. The upper part of the partition got textured drywall just like I had done in the bathroom. That'll be ready for paint when I return. So I got the wall all done. I really like what it's done to the camp. It separated these two rooms but didn't crowd them out. It's given a lot of definition to the camp. It's really cozy now. Put up a few deer heads here. Salmon up there. I still have some pegs to put in. That rustic trim goes all the way around the perimeter. Oh. On this corner here, got a wood box and a cabinet, some bookshelves. Place is looking kind of cozy. Still got a lot of work to do, but I love this wall.
At first, I was thinking about putting in a half wall with a rustic pine slab, like a bar top, like I have back at the Homestead. And I know it would have looked really good. It would have crowded each room a little bit, but I still think it would have worked. But then after I brought the rocker in, I decided against it. I can have the rocker facing this way if I have company in the living room. This works. But if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I like to sit by the wood stove in my rocker. It's just very comforting. Cold winter day, sit by the stove, soak up the heat with a beverage. So here, I'm going to have the great big kitchen stove burning. I can turn like that, be right near the stove just like I like. And the chair looks good from either direction. So this was more practical way to go. I just absolutely love this. I'm so glad it came out like it did.
This is where the big cook stove is going to go. All the cement board will be brick. The upper section is all mudded now. I just need to prime it and paint it, and then remove all my masking tape here that I have. And I'll get the switches and the light all wired up after the painting is done. So I'm getting the place set up really good now, getting all my creature comforts here at the camp. When I go to the well and I bring my water back, I've got the purifier I made, makes nice safe drinking water. When I'm running the generator for my power tools, I use the freezer, which makes ice for my ice box. In a few months I won't even need any ice. That is working out really good for me. Everything is staying nice and cold in there. I'm thrilled to death with that project, and I just love the way it looks. Kitchen working out great. I have my lights that I wired up last year. And then when all of that is brick and I have the big wood burning kitchen stove there, it's just going to be great. I'm going to work out something else for my water. Of course, I'm not going to have buckets in there when I have that big stove in there. So it's all coming together. It's been a lot of work, but it's been very rewarding. Yeah. It's a nice day today, so I figured this would be a good opportunity to put the metal roofing on the new porch. This had to be planned out in advance because I wanted the roofing to slide up under a flashing, but the flashing had to be installed before the siding went on. The problem is, I didn't have the proper flashing, so I had to make it from some other stock I had kicking around. What I couldn't do by hand, I tried to do by foot, and for everything else I used a hammer. I thought it was a good idea, but others thought I was making just a little too much noise. Noisy or not, it all fit together according to plan. We're a good team, don't you know? I do the metal work, and Frankie handles the paperwork. He makes sure we're in compliance with all state and federal regulations. How we doing, Frankie? Hey, Frankie. The camp is looking really good now. I got the green metal roof up on the porch. It gives me a nice indication of what the rest of the camp will look like next year when I put the green roof up. Couldn't be happier with the project.
Yeah, so it's been a good trip, and I'm anxious to come back. I'm putting the dream together like a jigsaw puzzle. I'm just watching the evening sun go down there and the flag blowing around. It's just a peaceful evening. There's not a sound in the air except the wind in the trees. Beautiful place to be. No distractions. No neighbors' lawnmowers, no trucks out on the highway, just the wind in the trees, watching the old flag.